I'm Jason Jorgensen. It is time for another edition of Husker Chat. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. We once again are joined by Sean Callahan of Husker Online as we take a look back at Nebraska's win against North Dakota, then preview this week's game, big Saturday night game against Georgia Southern. Now, Sean, last week you came out, and I agreed with you. You said Nebraska not only needs to win this game against North Dakota, but they need to win it convincingly. Unfortunately, they didn't get it done, but they did finish strong, and they ended an unbelievable 7-game losing streak for Nebraska football.
Yeah, I had 41-17 going in as my prediction, and it ended up being 38-17. But as you know, that score doesn't indicate really how tight that game was for 45 minutes. That game went down to the wire, really, going into the fourth quarter before Nebraska just kind of bullied North Dakota and ran the ball well. The first half, Nebraska only ran 23 plays of offense. North Dakota had a 16-play drive where they just ate up clock. They converted multiple third downs. A couple of them were third and longs. And, the defense couldn't get off the field. And so North Dakota had a good game plan. They kind of crossed Nebraska up defensively. They couldn't get off the field. And then Nebraska's offense was limited to just 4 possessions. They missed a field goal on one of those drives. So they should have had 10 in the first half probably, and they didn't. But luckily they found something, I think, with running back Anthony Grant.
I was going to ask you about him now. Before he even joined the Huskers, I had a coach tell me they said they thought he was one of the best junior college backs they had ever seen. And I guess if you're looking for a bright spot for Nebraska, especially on offense, it's been his play. Not only that he's picked up yards, but he's made yards on his own when there hasn't always been a hole there.
Yeah, and that can make a average or below average offensive line look a lot better. And I think we know that's kind of where Nebraska's at right now. They don't have a great offensive line. They've got a lot of pieces working together still. But when you have a person that can make somebody miss on that first cut, that makes a lot of things look better. And Anthony Grant has that ability. And I feel like at running back, it's one of those positions you can't really coach that. You either have it or you don't. It's not like you develop that skill year 3 or 4 of college. And A.J. Allen has that as well. And, this is probably the best the running backs have looked at Nebraska since, Zigbo looked really good, with the combination of Maurice Washington when Frost first got here in 2018. But I really like the makings of this group because Anthony Grant, not only does he make guys miss, he pulls away. When you see him get in the open field, he doesn't get caught from behind. So they really found something, I believe, in Anthony Grant.
Right. Another one of the big stories coming out of the game was who was calling plays in the second half. What's your read on that? Does it really matter?
I don't think it really matters because if there's one thing Scott Frost has done really well as a coach, he's been a great play caller. So if he has a voice in what they do, why should anyone have a problem with that? I mean, he put up more yards on Wisconsin than anybody has the last few years. He put up more yards on Pat Fitzgerald than anyone ever has in his coaching career. So we know Frost can call plays. That's always been a strength. If he's going to, and if he's going to have a voice with Whipple and what they do, that's no different than like Urban Meyer when he was at Ohio State. Nick Saban has a strong voice in what they do at Alabama still. He's not a coordinator. So I don't have a problem with that. He's not the primary play caller, but he's the head coach. And I think the head coach is going to have a voice in what you do and be engaged in the game still.
Today on Husker Chat, we're joined by Sean Callahan as we talk Husker football as we look forward to Nebraska's game on Saturday night against Georgia Southern. Let's talk about the defense. I know you were there at the press conference. A lot of questions again about all of the missed tackles. That is certainly an area where the Huskers have to get things cleaned up.
Yeah, 14 missed tackles Saturday, Jason, 29 on the season. And a lot of that was why North Dakota had the 16-play drive early in the game. Nebraska was in position to get off the field. Guys were just missing. Guys weren't lined up right. The loss of Nick Henrich, I think, has been big. You're playing Ernest Hausman. You're moving Chris Kolarovich back over to inside backer. You might have to play Luke Reimer now more snaps in the game than you would feel comfortable doing. He played every snap for the most part Saturday. So I think there's a few things. The safeties, too, are newer on the back end. But bottom line, yeah, they've missed too many tackles.
How about this one against Georgia Southern? They weren't very good a year ago. They have a new head coach, Clay Helton. Folks probably remember that name. He spent quite a bit of time at USC, and it it looks like they at least come in with some momentum. I know it was Morgan State, but they blew those guys off the field 59-7.
Well, you know a couple things. Number one, Clay Helton's an accomplished coach. He's won a Rose Bowl. He's been a long-time play caller at USC before he got to Georgia Southern. He brought a fairly good quarterback with him, Kyle Van Treese from Buffalo. He was a 3-year starter from 19 to 21. Van Treese has only been sacked 10 times in 650-some career dropbacks. So you're not going to sack this guy very often. He's not fast either. He just gets rid of the football, does a really good job of not holding the ball. So Nebraska needs to do a better job of disrupting him, getting his timing off. And they did a good job, I thought, last year in the Buffalo game. But he's a veteran quarterback that's played a lot of football. He's been in Memorial Stadium. So I think there's a few things about it that worry you. But also, Georgia Southern will have some athletes. I mean, you know where they're located in South Georgia. There's plenty of players around there. And it's an attractive place for transfers to head to now, especially with Clay Helton. So, yeah, this game Nebraska's favored by 3 touchdowns, Jason, but there's still a lot there that gets your attention about Georgia Southern.
Could you see this one developing a little bit like the North Dakota game? Or I suppose we all hope the Huskers may be able to get a handle on this one a little bit earlier and be a little more dominant.
They've got to get stops early on defense. That's really what it comes down to. Nebraska is not getting off the field consistently enough on defense early in games. Too many times they've played a safer, conservative defense. They're not getting a pass rush home on 4-man rushes. They're missing key tackles on 3rd downs. They've got to get off the field. And if they can get off the field and force some 3 and outs, yeah, I think they could run away with this game. The other thing is the weather. It's going to be cooler. They're calling for rain. I think that actually probably helps Nebraska more because Georgia Southern is going to try to throw the ball 40, 50 times.
All right. See how it develops on Saturday night. Sean, as always, we appreciate your time and your expertise.
Hey, thanks, Jason.
You bet. That was Sean Callahan of Husker Online joining us for Husker Chat. We're here every week. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jason Jorgensen.